Welcome back to Elevation 44. It's your girl B. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back, family. Today we are diving into Gemini season. The sun has officially moved again, and we are in Gemini season. So we're going to talk all about Gemini season, what it's bringing us, because it's bringing us a whole lot. We got a lot going on this Gemini season, y'all. And we're gonna just dive right into it. I am sitting outside because I wanted to be in the ambiance of the outdoors, you know, connecting to Mother Earth, and listening to all the beautiful birds. I got my incense going, but with outside, you know, comes noises that I can't control. My neighborhood can get quite noisy at times. Only when I decide to come outside and film, that's when everybody else wants to come outside and do things. So it gets a little noisy, bear with me, but hopefully it is not going to interrupt our message, okay? So diving into Gemini season, which is going to be spanning from May 20th until June 20th, okay? So what do we have popping this Gemini season? First of all, we have two eclipses, okay? So we got the Sagittarius lunar eclipse, okay? We also have a solar eclipse that is happening on the Gemini full moon, new moon, excuse me. And we have 3 more retrogrades, because currently Pluto is in retrograde, but now we're going to have Saturn retrograde, Mercury retrograde, and Jupiter retrograde. So eclipse season is here, retrograde season is in full swing, and this is bringing us a lot, y'all. It is bringing us a lot of transformation and changes, okay? So this is all about internal transformation, internal reflection. We're recalibrating. So this is happening during a season which is Gemini season, okay? Which is all about highlighting our flexibility, our adaptability. How are we able to adapt to change, to you know, basically accept new conditions, new surroundings, new thoughts, new paths forward. And a lot of what we talk about with the eclipses are going to be highlighting that, okay? So it's all about that mutable energy, because Gemini is a mutable sign, which means it is adapting, ever changing, always changing, you know, thoughts, mind, position, everything. It's really, really highly flexible and adaptable. And we really need that in these times more than ever, because we're letting go of so many old things. We're watching the old things phase out so quickly that we have to be able to be flexible and adaptable in embracing the new, or we're gonna phase out with the old. So this is really all about adaptation. It's adapt, transform, or perish in certain terms, right? So this is what is happening, okay? So basically, we also are talking about how we communicate, how we share information. This is what Gemini highlights, how we process information, how we, you know, speak, write, think, everything like that. This is coming under focus during Gemini season, so we're gonna have a lot of chances to dive into that, to also reflect on that, to maybe recalibrate how we do those things, especially because Mercury, which is the planet that rules Gemini, is going into retrograde, and this Mercury is in Gemini as well, its home sign, and it's going retrograde there. So it's about to retrace its steps, and we'll talk about that in a second. But this is really putting an emphasis on how we speak, how we write, how we teach, how we communicate, how we think, and how we reason, how we process our thoughts, our learning, our curiosity. Are we asking the right questions, right? Well, you know, are we not even asking any questions, and why not? These are all the things that are going to come into focus. What do we have knowledge-wise also to pass along? Like, this is about learning, but this is also about sharing information, and sharing information is through our wisdom, through our knowledge, through our experiences. So Gemini season is going to highlight that for us as well. This also brings into focus our ties or our activities in our community, because it's all about kind of like our immediate surroundings, our community, our backyard, right? Per se, it's about short distance travel. It's about what our ties are into our community and our levels of activity in our own local communities. And this has a lot to do with this restless energy, right? Because Gemini is a fast moving energy in the sense that it's always on to the next thing really quickly. It doesn't really stay thinking about one thing too long. It kind of just is like read, skim over it. Okay, next thing. Read, skim. It's not going too much into depth into one area. It's not deep diving. It's just trying to obtain as much info as possible and wants a lot of variety and is exciting, but can also be very restless and be very unfocused at times. So these are some of the things that we're going to see coming up during Gemini season. All right, so let's talk about what the sun in Gemini is going to be doing. So the first thing is the sun is going to be squaring Jupiter, and Jupiter is in Pisces, and everybody has been super excited about Jupiter moving into Pisces because this by far is one of the best transits of this year. Jupiter in Pisces is beautiful because Jupiter is the traditional ruler of Pisces, and this is where Jupiter's energy is expressed. The feminine aspects of Jupiter's energy is expressed. So it's this all about compassion. It's all about emotion, spirituality. It's all about all of like the warm and fuzzy feely things and just like really luck and good fortune and abundance and all of the best deepest ways about our dreams, our intuition. These are all of the gifts that we get with Jupiter in Pisces. It is a very beautiful energy, and that's why so many people were excited about it, including myself. But it does make us highly sensitive. It does have the tendency to lead you to go overboard if you're not careful, just kind of overindulging in excess and, you know, kind of getting also deceived or duped in a lot of ways because you kind of have blinders on. So with all the positives does come challenges as well, because, you know, people don't talk about that, but it is definitely a thing with Jupiter and Pisces. But overall, a very beautiful placement, and has me just warm and tender. Has so many people warm and tender. Like, I'm tearing up for commercials, y'all. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that touching moment. And I'm just like starting to get all soft and mushy inside, and I'm like, stop that. This is Jupiter and Pisces energy, prime Jupiter and Pisces energy. But anyway, with the sun squaring Jupiter and Neptune, because Neptune is also in Pisces, this can lend itself to what I was just talking about, making us go overboard, okay? It can make us feel overly confident. This can be an energy with this overconfidence, or, you know, the ability to go overboard so quickly, where you can, because that Jupiter in Pisces brings in that good fortune energy per se, you can get lucky and get very unlucky all at the same time. Really just depends on how you are working with this energy. So I would definitely watch for going overboard and going to extremes like we talked about, because that overconfidence can put you in positions of where you can capitalize, but also in positions where you can lose, okay? This is again what I'm talking about, being easily confused, easily duped or deceived. Deception energy is strong, y'all. And let me tell you, when I say we are not the only ones paying attention to astrology, people who are in positions of power, who want to maintain power, are also looking at astrology and are looking at the planetary movements and capitalizing on the energy to not, you know, basically to get the things that they want, which may not necessarily be in our best interest. So always using your own intuition to guide you forward is going to be helpful, okay? Use your own mind, your own brain, all right? And don't overdo it. Moderation and focus on a few things at a time, because again, this Gemini energy is very scattered. The sun is also going to be conjuncting your North Node, and the North Node is our collective destiny. What direction are we moving towards, okay? And in Vedic astrology, which we don't talk about much on this channel, the North Node is Rahu, which is the dragon's head, okay? You got Rahu and Ketu, which is the North Node and the South Node, dragon's head and tail. So this is our collective destiny. What direction are we headed in? With the sun conjunct conjunct and connected, it's the same thing, right? With North Node, we're talking about fated events that are likely to occur, to move us, to help move us in the direction towards our destiny. Again, we have this piece of self-confidence that pops in when our own abilities, just don't take it overboard, right? And then this can also trigger selfishness, abuses of power, and excessive risk. Okay, so that can be very detrimental. So again, that with the whole sun, this Gemini sun squaring Jupiter and Neptune, we definitely want to be careful on the things that we're getting involved in and not going overboard or taking excessive risk when we don't need to. Okay, so that is the sun in Gemini and what it will be doing in terms of transits during Gemini season. So now I'm going to move on to some of the other transits that we're going to be talking about or experiencing during Gemini season, and the next one is Saturn. Okay, so on May 23rd, Saturn stations so that it can start its retrograde cycle. Okay, and this is going to last until, I didn't write it down, but I believe it's going to last until October. Okay, and Saturn is currently in Aquarius, so with Saturn going retrograde here, we're reviewing where we need to mold and shape our new boundaries and foundation in regards to where we feel stuck or limited. And I don't want to go too far into Saturn retrograde, because I have a whole video that's going to be dedicated to Saturn retrograde and Saturn retrograde through each house, so you can find out what it means for you personally. So stay tuned for that, and I will also make sure to link it in the description box so that when it is up, you can get right to it. Okay, or you just hit that notification bell so that when I drop it, you also get notified. Okay, also on May 26th, we have our a few days right after Saturn, starting its retrograde cycle or stationing to start its retrograde cycle, we have our lunar eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius. Okay, so this full moon is going to be a super moon. Okay, so it's going to be very close to the earth. It's going to be a lunar eclipse. It's going to be a blood moon. It's just, there's so much happening. It's a flower moon, but it's also called a blood moon because the way that the shadow of the sun with the earth that's going to be projected onto the moon, it's going to almost look like a reddish tint, so that's where it's getting its blood moon name from. But it is a super moon, and we talked about super moons before. When they're closer to the earth, the effects are felt stronger, and the fact that this is a total, not a partial, but a total lunar eclipse, okay? The entire light of the sun will be blocked from reflecting on the moon. This is definitely a big star that you want to put on your calendar, okay? Because this, everybody will feel, whether you're into astrology, whether or not you pay attention to moon cycles, it doesn't matter. You're gonna feel this on some level or another. This is massive. Okay, so these themes with this particular new moon are carryovers from the Sagittarius new moon that we had back in December of 2020. That Sagittarius new moon also was a total solar eclipse. I want to say it was a total solar eclipse. Okay, could be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that. It was a solar eclipse, but I'm not sure if it was a total one. I think it was. But anyway, so that solar eclipse happened right before the Great Conjunction. Okay, so this theme was all about releasing all of the past outdated things that we were still holding on to, that was blocking us from moving forward onto the new path, which we were being pushed on because all of this change was coming in, and it was like it or not, these things are going to happen, and you're going to have to release these things of the past in order to go into this direction. So you can release it on your own, or we can force you to release it, right? So this is going to be the continuation of that. This is pushing us, expanding us into our new path. So it's really about transforming or perishing, like I said, and not perishing necessarily in a physical sense, but perishing in a spiritual sense, or being, we'll get into it because I'm dropping a whole video, you guys, on this Sagittarius full moon lunar eclipse. So we're going to dive deep into it, okay? So there's a lot to talk about there. But anyway, so this full moon is going to be squaring Jupiter in Pisces. It's also going to be conjuncting the south node, which means it's going to be opposite the north node, and that's a whole nother thing in itself. And it's going to be trining Chiron in Aries. So please mark May 26th on your calendar and look out for that video as well. Moving along. All right. On May 29th, Mercury is also stationing so that it can begin its retrograde cycle. So Mercury in Gemini is backtracking, okay? So because Mercury rules Gemini, when a retrograde happens in its rules sign, either Gemini or Virgo, it is felt deeply. It is felt more intensely, okay? So get ready, okay? It is a retrograde season. All right, so this is when Mercury was direct in Gemini, it's pushing forward all things communication, projects, studies, intellectual pursuits, all of that is like moving forward, right? Now, when we are backtracking, the energy is reversed and it's coming to all of the rewords, reflect, review. This is really what reassess. It's all about going back, reevaluating, okay? So this is time for majorly reviewing information, going back and reviewing what you may have already introduced and kind of skimmed quickly over. Because remember, I said that Gemini energy is just, it wants to move on to the next thing really quick. So it does not necessarily take in and absorb all the information, just enough to get exactly what it needs and moves on. This is time to go back and review that information and go deeper, right? So this is not a great time for decision making until the retrograde cycle is over. This is just a time to review, reassess, and gain some more information in whatever arena this means for you particularly, okay? So don't make any decisions until it's over. This transit can also lend itself to a lot of gossip, miscommunication. You guys already knew the deal with Mercury retrogrades, the equipment going wonky, all kinds of stuff, just kind of, it's a miss, right? So that is something to watch for, and this definitely brings out scammers and con artists, especially with Jupiter in Pisces. I want to highlight that there, okay? So be aware of all those things. Moving on to June 2nd, we have Venus entering Cancer, okay? So when Venus enters Cancer, Venus loves Cancer as well, Cancerian energy, because it gets to be nurturing here. It gets to care for its loved ones, its family members. It's very sentimental. It seeks security and comfort in this sign, which is very, very nice. And it's also going to be trining Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. So this is going to expand on our emotional tenderness, our compassion. So we're going to be really feeling really, really tender. So don't get duped, don't get deceived, don't get scammed, okay? This is also going to expand on our optimism, and love and romance is going to definitely be prime under this energy. And this is really a good energy for good fortune and bringing in good blessings. So I would actually circle this day as well, especially if you are looking to, take some financial risk and get some gains in that department. Actually 6-2, so June 2nd through June 8th, I would say is like a nice little cushion of days if you want to mark that down on your calendar. And then also Venus in Cancer is also going to be sextiling Uranus, which increases the chances of good fortune, okay? So this is very progressive. Things that are tech-oriented, progressive in nature, you might want to be looking at those type of things for your gains. On June 10th, we have the Gemini new moon solar eclipse. Oh man, again, a whole nother video is going to be dedicated to this particular new moon or solar eclipse. But again, this is back to what started in eclipse season back in December of 2020. So this is really about recognition and achievement, on the work that we did then, the work that we started then, to not only help others but help ourselves heal and facilitate healing, for releasing the past and learning the learning lessons that we needed to not only help others transform and get out of those similar situations, but the healing, the internal healing that we were doing to get out of those situations so we can go along this new journey, this new path. So this is really about seeing a lot of what has come from that and where we still need to go, okay? We'll be trining Saturn with this I say we. The moon will be trining Saturn in this on this day. It'll also be conjunct Mercury and squaring Neptune. So we're gonna get into that in the Gemini new moon solar eclipse video, okay? And then on June 12th, Mars is entering Leo. Now this is a great placement for Mars because Mars loves to be in fire signs. So Leo is right up the alley. This is the ability to lead. Your confidence, that exuberant nature gets really pushed up to the forefront. And so you take command, you take the stage, and your leadership qualities really shine here. So strength, willpower, your confidence, your ability to succeed and to achieve your goals is at front and center, okay? So this is a great placement for Mars, and to get some initiation and initiative, not initiation, some initiative or drive to move forward on stuff. I could also say, though, with your confidence being boosted so highly, others can also take that in the wrong direction. So it's kind of like a fine line you have to, you know, use when you're working with Mars in Leo. So just make sure, because, you know, you could be an attack on your ego because others misunderstand your confidence and how it's coming off during this time. Mars is going to be trine Chiron here, right? So this is going to help us work through those low self-esteem issues with our own identity wounds. So again, it's going to help us move out of that because of that confidence piece. And then it's going to be opposite Saturn. So there could be frustrations with other people getting in our way during this time. And then the last thing that I'm going to speak on so that I can wrap this video is that Jupiter, the very last day of the sun being in Gemini, the Jupiter is going to start stationing to make its retrograde cycle. So Jupiter, the planet or the energy of hope, opportunities, expansion, faith, compassion, good fortune, good luck, happiness. This is when it's retrograde. It's a time to review and reassess and have introspection and reflection in those following areas, okay? So this is really about spiritual development and happiness, all right? So what is blocking your path to happiness and to spiritual development? This is going to be under review at this time, and all those things that are in the way are going to be made obvious now. So it's really about what are your subconscious needs and desires, and going through that. All right, so to recap, the energy will be feeling restless and scattered in Gemini season, but we're going to get a boost of a lot of confidence in this department. We're going to be more emotional and sensitive and intuitive, and again, we can be easily deceived during this time, so be careful of that. The emphasis will definitely be on how we think and how we communicate, and the focus will continue to be how we adapt and transform. Be aware of your these deception or these deceptive people. I can't even speak today, because your compassion, your tenderness that you're feeling right now is definitely going to be used against you by some people, all right? The herb that I would recommend you working with for Gemini season is lavender, and the crystals that I would recommend working with are angelite and lapis lazuli, and angelite specifically because of this Jupiter in Pisces and that connection to your angels in the higher realm, and then it also helps open up that throat chakra, and lapis lazuli is great for throat chakra and all of that, which is great during Gemini season, which is very, very focused on that communication piece. Okay, so that is all I have for you. I think I've gotten through everything, and I think I did it in a good, timely manner. Gemini gang, where you at? If you have a solar return during Gemini season, hit me down in the comments below so we can shout you out. I will say that I am a Cancer sun in tropical astrology, but in sidereal or Vedic astrology, I am a Gemini sun. So I do like Gemini season as well, and I definitely feel like the older I've gotten, I have started to identify a lot more with my Gemini sun than my Cancer sun. So, you know, your girl's feeling Gemini season. And I also will say really fast to end the video that I did announce the giveaway winners for the 10K giveaway in the community tab. So please go to the community tab and see if you are one of the winners, and please respond to me and let me know your details, because I would love to go on ahead and get you your items and everything that you actually won. So I will see you all in the next video very, very soon, because we got a lot of them this Gemini season. All right, y'all? See you guys soon. Peace.